Right, so this video is going to clear up a few pieces of current debate in the Rainbow Six Siege community about the game's state, about Ubisoft's response to that state, and a couple of other sort of factors. But mostly we're going to be focusing on two of the big issues that we've been seeing doing the rounds on things like Twitter and social media, etc., which is people's opinions and understanding of the hacking and cheating and DDoSing situation in Siege, and also the bug situation in Siege. And we might touch on things like Valorant and how people think it's game crushing, etc., etc. I do want to start by saying that yes, I have worked with Ubisoft. So as many of the other competitive community that gets their salary from this game existing, I do not need to kiss their ass. Okay, so everything that I pull out today is pure fact, and it is why it informs my opinion about the current game's state and the current game's progression. So everything I'm saying today isn't to kiss someone's ass. If I thought the game was dying, I would fight tooth and nail to bring it back, because it does pay, a heck of a lot of money for me and a heck of a lot of money for many others. So, that's a big disclaimer there. Starting with hacking, there is a world of information and rumors and statements being spread around, specifically Twitter as of late, about how Ubisoft is just letting people hack, just letting all these champions hack wildly, get away with it. How can they be hacking for so long and never get banned, etc.? Well, let me explain the process to you, and I'm going to start from the very beginning of Siege, okay? Because it wasn't until 2016, and that was a year or two after, really after, it was not even a year after Siege had released, that they introduced BattlEye. In that first week of them introducing BattlEye, they banned over 3,800 people. 3,800 in 1 week. They had committed to making their game hack and exploit free where they could. And they were then, in 2016, compared to Overwatch, in being some of the most high-level publishers to turn around and deal with hacking and cheating at the veracity that they had done it. So let's start off by saying that Ubisoft has always had, since specifically 2016, a very harsh approach on permanent bans on hacking, cheating, etc. Okay, so they don't want people to hack. That's just the number one. Then in mid-2018, they announced that they're going to up their team and how they do internal penetration testing efforts so that the team could even find exploits before they could even get into the game. So they announced more money going into more members of the team being able to do internal penetration testing. And this was in mid-2018. Then they decided to go against boosting services who were using boosting and hacking together by adding MMR lock and two-factor authentication lock. So they keep trying to counter all these hackers and cheaters in everywhere they can, right? Every year, every few seasons, they're adding something new. Then what they finally be able to do is, now that they've added internal penetration testing efforts, they're now finding out exactly which pieces of software are being used to commit these cheats and exploits, etc. So come 2019, the Ubisoft team has officially spent hundreds of thousands, if not millions, on legal teams, taking multiple hacking companies to court. In September, they took all of Musisoft for selling hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cheats to court and sued them. Then at the end, they had over 4 different DDoS companies or websites, let's say, in court. Name another game who is that invested in their legal team. Name another game who is that invested in taking that many cheating hacking websites, which isn't just to the benefit of them, it'll also help other games, to court, spending hundreds of thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars going through the court process, because a lot of people aren't aware how much that costs to have a legal team and to go through court, especially in a civil case, for that long, and you might not even win. Then you've got to cover charges. So they invest, I'm going to say millions, quite easily millions, to then, once they finally start doing internal penetration testing, that they can work out where these software pieces are coming from, and then they start to work out how they can get these people from stopping to sell them altogether. Okay? So a lot of people tell me that Ubisoft, they should just communicate what they're doing, but they have. If any of you ask what they're doing alongside BattleEye, and I've been told multiple times that they've said to me multiple times, and I'm going to read this verbatim, they are working with BattleEye to monitor and track hackers to identify the software and hopefully lead to a successful prosecution. What does that tell us? It tells us that they are tracking people who are hacking in the game to try and work out what exploit and software they're using, so that not only that singular person who they could ban and then lose track of and then lose track of the software and couldn't monitor, then they find out exactly what the software is, then all the people who are using that software, let's say 100, 1,000, however many, cannot use it anymore because it's gone, it's banned, it's been reverse engineered, it's been whatever. So that's what Ubisoft is trying to do. All you have to do is ask. All you have to do is request from the people who it's their job and ask them, hey, what's going on towards, well, this is what we need to do. We must track these people so that we can work out exactly what methods they're using and then be able to prosecute and or reverse engineer and or this and or that. Just ask. Really simple. Okay? So when you say that Ubisoft's not doing enough, you just don't know the full story. That's the problem. Then if we go on to bugs, this is where it gets interesting. Excuse me. I have a few dot points here. After an entire season devoted to health in the game, Operation Health, which I thought was a very, very good season worth of focusing on gameplay mechanics, etc., Siege only then really started showing promise that they're able to consistently respond to bugs, etc. Then what they decide to do in April 26th of 2019, they up all of its efforts to respond to bugs because everyone was still complaining, and they introduced, using thousands and thousands of dollars, they introduced a team to help implement and guard r6fix.com, which was then linked to the test server, which was also begged for by the competitive and casual community. Okay? So we begged for a test server, we begged for somewhere to be able to provide bugs and etc. so that they could be fixed. And then we're still not happy. You know why we're not happy? Is because people don't understand how the process works. So this is how it works. Essentially, throughout the rest of 2019, Ubisoft has to beg the competitive and casual community to take clips of glitches, bugs, etc. so that when you send it into R6Fix, they can see the exact way that happened to you. And then the only way that they can fix it is by attempting to replicate it themselves so they can see the exact line of coding and fix it or completely reshift things. Only then can they fix that bug. You telling them that there's weird sound or this barricade does this doesn't mean they can find in over millions of lines of code what you're talking about. This is why R6Fix needed to have been used and people didn't use it. So don't come complaining when you didn't use the one method that Ubisoft invested thousands into to try and get this game fixed and you didn't use it. Okay, it was like during the first R6Fix changes, they had silent Habana bugs and stuff like that, and heaps of competitive players were sending in videos of it. Did they fix it? Did they fix it? Yeah, they did, because 2 weeks later, 2 weeks after there was a huge, rampant social media hype about the fact that Exkyros were exploding, without sound, etc., it was literally in the game fixed. I know there's still some replications of it now, and that's for other reasons, not the same coding reason, but no, it was literally threw into R6Fix. They finally were able to replicate it. They found the code. They were able to fix it and propagate the sound differently with the sound engineers. Boom, it was fixed. But you wouldn't know that. And this is the trouble with the Siege community, is that if you start a little bit of hysteria on social media, people grab onto it and they run with it. And it can be extraordinarily frustrating to go against hackers or to try and run through a door and you get stuck because it's bugged or something like that. Absolutely. Absolutely. I hate it. I stream this game every day. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But do you know what I do? I turn around and go, well, there's this system for me to be able to report what's going on and what's wrong. And I know that if I get hacked upon, that they are actively having an entire team there who are monitoring the software and attempting to do penetration testing on it to work out whether they can accurately and definitively prosecute these people outside of the game. So I'm sorry if they're not banning that dude who, flew through the air and 360 killed you. They're trying to find out something much bigger than you. I'm sorry. And for all those people who can't handle that and can't handle the tens of millions of dollars that Siege has invested in trying to make this game great, and you're worried that they're not doing it the way that you want, maybe just go ask and you will find out more answers than you've been finding out scrolling through ignorant and misinformed and uninformed Twitter posts, because that's what it's been lately, and it's been extraordinarily frustrating. So I do want to put that. I also want to then now highlight the last piece of conversation, is that people are saying, I would like more communication from Ubi. Would you? Have you checked their website? Have you checked where they release news and all of their posts? Because if you did, you would know that they've been releasing for years something called Top Issues and Community Concerns, where they release a dot point of set of community issues that have been going on, whether it's a client-side debris, or whether it's doors not opening, or sound degradation, or this or that. And it's literally called Top Issues and Community Concerns. It is labeled so clearly, you couldn't fuck it up. You simply could not fuck it up. You could not interpret that for anything else other than what it is. So if you can't find and can't do a simple Google search about the issues and whether or not Ubisoft are communicating about them, then you're the problem, not Ubisoft. Ubisoft is communicating through their legitimate and professional avenues. And because you can't seem to find them, you think it's okay to have a little rant on Twitter about how Ubisoft is saying nothing. I'll give you an example. On March 20th of this year, they released Top Issues stating that they were still aware of some issues outlined in previous seasons that they had added fixes for, and they wanted everyone to know exactly what they tried to do to fix things like sound when they'd done it in the previous year last season. And they'd be working shortly to release another attempted fix on sound. But you wouldn't know that, because if you looked at Twitter, everyone says Ubisoft's doing nothing. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't believe everything you read on social media. Actually become informed. Actually read things. Go to the official website if you're worried about how to do things. Use the support system. Use the R6 fix system. Use the test server to test bugs and try and nip them in the bud before they go to the live server. If you're a competitive player and you've been sitting there just screaming about the game over and over and over again, I understand your hurt. I understand your pain. I do. But use the avenues provided by the game to make this game better. Screaming on Twitter or Instagram or wherever has done nothing for the game and will continue to do nothing for the game. We must be better than this. We must come up with mature and professional ways of dealing with issues in the game. Thank you.